One thing. Hello, welcome, everybody.
Welcome.
I don't know why I had to say welcome 3 times, but
Welcome,
guess I
welcome.
was just making sure you got the welcome. Okay, welcome to another Break the Spell podcast. This is podcast number 11.
Break spells 11, huh?
Yeah, 11.
Wow, what do you know?
And like since what was it, Christmas or right after Christmas?
Hmm
No, it was right before Christmas we started.
I don't even remember.
So it hasn't been that long.
It
We've got
hasn't been
11
too long.
episodes. We've been
Yeah.
putting in some work.
All right.
That's good. So please share this out. This is a podcast, so it will be going on to
All those
Spotify,
podcast places.
Anchor, Spotify and Anchor for sure right now, but I'm working on getting it on other podcasts. I want to get it on all of them.
Right.
So any support is welcome and appreciated. Monetary support, sharing, it's value for value. Whatever you hold value in the show. If you can afford to kick something down, we appreciate it. But there's many other ways you can support the show.
Ideas, time, energy.
Just simply commenting, say, hey,
yes,
what's up?
being involved,
Hitting those, smashing those emojis on Facebook,
right.
and making sure you smash the like button and subscribe on YouTube. Hello, Denise. Hello, Reno.
Hello, Denise. And Reno.
So yeah, just sharing it out so we can get a wide reach right off the bat, and then we're going to put everything onto onto the podcast platforms. We have an RSS feed, so I don't know if any of you know what that means, but basically just podcast in a podcast form, and that's why we're doing it this way. Because we can relax. We don't have to worry about looking pretty for the camera,
right? Which is always nice. If you're me, anyway.
Right. So Kathy's here, Denise Bertucci, Reno, Ron Preston. Welcome, everybody.
Yes, welcome.
Please share this with your friends. This is just kind of, tonight we're talking about, it's going to get interesting. I know you may not understand the title. Don't get lost in the glimmers.
I actually remember saying that.
But yeah, that was we were doing like an astral projection or a remote view. This was back when we just first started doing it. So we were doing it with a group of people, and those were really powerful. They were. I mean, all of them are, but those seemed to be really powerful. Like everything aligned.
Because that was your first.
Yeah, and it was my first. So yeah, it's like
to see the power of. Yeah.
So as we started doing this, I think we were going to see. We were trying to see Atlantis, weren't we? And we ended up in the inner Earth. So we got to Atlantis, or what we thought it was of Atlantis, which I think it was, and it was like a building that was like underwater. We were inside like this big pavilion, or I don't know what you would call it, but there was drawings and paintings on the walls. And then one of the group slipped through this crack in the painting, and we ended up in the inner Earth. But basically before this, okay, so we're preparing everybody. I'm basically telling everybody, we're going underwater, so don't think you're going to drown. And Norma just says, don't get lost in the glimmers either. She was doing really good because she's good in the dark, like when you go to which is kind of the dark side.
As we were kind of preparing and getting ourselves into that trance, I noticed just these little, these areas in which, if you were to stray from what we were doing, if you were to just, you could get lost. And that was my point. And don't get lost in the glimmers. Don't find that familiar thing or that reflective thing and just jump to that. Right. Stick to your.
Yeah, don't find the little shiny thing because you'll get lost. And as we were experiencing it, we're starting to experience like past lives or our old connections to things. And a lot of it could have been just symbolic, but I feel like as symbolic as real as it was symbologically. Is that a word?
I mean, probably.
Symbolically.
There you go.
It was very real. Like it seemed very real. It was very real to all of us. Just like anything real, like me and Norma have seen some strange shit in the sky together. Like, and even we couldn't even do that when we were on psychedelics. We couldn't even trip together. Excuse me. Hold on. Damn it.
Apologies. We took a puff right before we started. Sorry.
So it's all trying to come up right now. Okay. Sorry. So anyway, the kind of moral or the, we're going to go deeper into the story, but as we started doing this, like I actually had a vision of fighting the war in heaven. All right, there we go. I just had to get that loose. Sorry, gross.
Clear it out.
Had to clear my throat. Working on my throat chakra right now. So I saw the Rainbow Bridge. I saw what would be considered heaven for people that were really afraid. Damn it.
Didn't quite get it all out of there, did you, baby?
No.
There you go.
For people that were really afraid and for people that weren't, like people that were in the battle. A lot of these people that I saw were like similar faces, but we were all playing like this role of like, I actually at one point saw myself as Jesus in like golden shining armor. Well, moral of the story is don't get too wrapped up into that shit, because it literally, when we get lost in the glimmers, God damn it, hold on. What we see, hold on, I'm gonna mute you real quick. Hold on. This has got to be like a nervous tick right now at this point. But anyway, sorry, and thank you for waiting. When we were in this, you know, doing a lot of these remote views, and we did a lot of astral projection, a lot of different places, I started to get really empowered because I had a lot of clarity, right? I had like too much clarity. Like so much clarity that and this is what happens when people are like newly awakened, or they're awakened to something new and powerful, even if you've had many awakenings, because we've had a lot of them all throughout our lives. Right. I started to feel like I was like in that other dimension because I liked being there, right? Those higher dimensions. And I eventually went past the whole heaven place of like the Christian version or any earthly way of heaven. And I went up into a place where, well, it was still earthly. I went into a place of myth, like Greek, Roman mythology, and others. I just didn't recognize them because I probably didn't, you know. Right. But similar concept, which is higher than heaven. Right. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is I saw all these places. I knew, like, I could actually, in my life, just like a lot of things were just clicking. Like I could see things before they happen. Like, you know, I do that all the time, but it was coming like really quickly, really powerfully. It's like wearing like murky glasses and then taking them off and being able to see like clearly.
Well, it's like being in a simulation, right? Or playing a video game for so long that when you finally stop, you're like, you have to kind of remember that you're no longer playing the game.
Yeah. Well, and those places that we visit are important, and we keep them with us. Excuse me. Anyway, well, it's rough. I'm having a rough time. I'm trying to grind through it. So anyway, there's a few things that can happen when you get to that clarity, and clarity can be an enemy for us. It really can be. I don't know if we talked about this in the last podcast, but as far as if anybody's ever read Don Juan's books or Carlos Castaneda, that brujo is basically medicine man, shaman, whatever you want to call him. Man of knowledge is what he called them, actually. Yeah. Where was I? He talks about the 4 enemies. And we'll talk about those maybe on the next podcast, but one of them is clarity, and I think it's like the 3rd one, because you've got to go through these processes of fear, and then of I think clarity might be the 2nd one. Anyway, we'll go through it again. But I got to this place where I felt like very high spiritually, like I could like almost like a 50,000 foot view from up above of the world, of life, and how it worked. Right. We need to get here. This is someplace we should get to and see it here within ourselves. And then when we get there, and I think it's just kind of it's a hazard of you know, it's kind of one of those things, like it comes with the
Well,
territory.
this is why it is always good to be able to have like a
It's like you
guide
can't be shown
or,
everything in this life because
like,
your
yeah.
human will go mad. Like we'll go literally insane. And some people get that information, and all of us get to this manic place where we're like stuck in this. we have that within us, but we're like trying to like be our higher self here, which we can be.
Yes. Only
as
we're
humans,
still, yes,
not as Roman gods or whatever, you know, 50-foot tall beings that are very intelligent and do have a lot of
many past lives.
Right.
We have had
in many different places, not just Earth.
Exactly. And we can integrate all of it. I mean, it's all really there. But the reason that we kind of stick to certain things, and even when we're going through past lives in our own memories, the reason we remember certain things, certain ones, is to remember certain things, right? And so, but when we get lost in that, when we think, no, I was Cleopatra. No, you could not have. Fuck you, you were Cleopatra. I was fucking Cleopatra.
Yeah, like that's there's only one Cleopatra, but I mean, there's not. But that's another show.
But like, understand. But no, like,
I start talking fractals, we're really gonna get into
right. But really understanding that just because you are truly experiencing that past life, you were there. Whether you were that person, someone around that person, it doesn't even matter. And someone else was that person. We are fractal beings. And so there are essences of us, of our beings, of ourselves in many people.
Yeah.
Okay. They're independent people. They're their own people. Don't go saying, oh, I'm that person because they're my fractal, because fuck that shit.
Right.
But what I'm saying is,
or getting in this place like where I see a lot of like Christians go, and it's not all of them.
Right.
But they'll get this like really this big wave of insight or big wave of enlightenment. And they're going to view it, and it's going to be shown to them in the way they understand, so it hits hard.
Yes.
That's the awakening, right? And so when they do that, they grasp onto what they know and what they see. This is what I was doing too. What I was mostly in my psyche throughout my, life was Jesus.
Yeah.
I mean, we really focus on Jesus a lot in America.
Unfortunately, we've been propagandized with that gentleman for
and there's nothing wrong with Jesus is an archetype. And
like
Jesus,
I said,
obviously, I saw,
that's the gentleman that we've been.
But that is I think, like, especially like Americans and Western civilization, that's kind of how we need to come through it. But with the problem that happens is we get stuck in that rigid place, because that first heaven that I saw, that first level of heaven, was very rigid. Like there were dragons there were fairies, there were all the unicorns and shit you want to see, whatever. I didn't see many unicorns. I actually, now that I think about it, I don't think we saw any. I saw fairies. I saw gold dust being poured over everything, like they were little brushes, like they were cleaning the muck off of everything.
Yeah.
Oh, it was pretty deep. I mean, there was like this tar like taking over in heaven, and that was like the whole war in heaven was happening. Right. The trumpets were sounding. Like it was a very powerful experience. And I was in that like trance state. Yeah. Yet I was like living this out. Like I could see it very vividly. And there was a rainbow bridge. There was,
And that's another, just to bring it back to everything else we always talk about. That's just the power of the mind.
Right.
We can do, are everything we can. It is. But the point of our lifetime is to be balanced within the being we are today.
Yep.
Whilst knowing and wielding all of that power, right? Like understanding you come from this. This is a part of you. But you are you right now, today. Utilize it.
Oh, Christy, she says not reality, but a different path of yours, if that makes sense. Yeah, well,
it's like deja vu.
Same path. Okay. It's like I was seeing my memories, but I think the Jesus archetype was like the strongest, and everybody was telling me this too, like they were seeing it on me.
Yes.
And yes, that's it's one of my, it's connected somehow. Like it is real, but to our human understanding,
yeah.
Like it's
not what we've been taught.
When we do remote views, Christy, the things we're seeing are real.
Yes.
That's why they're kind of scary. When we do think about it, when we did the investigation, when we helped out with the investigation of the murder, I mean, you were totally getting into it. Like you were feeling it. These things are real, but we can't go around telling a lot of normies, and especially at this point, I'm not going to try to talk any more normies into it. Like if they haven't figured it out by now. Hopefully they gain the insight along the way, but it is eventually going to shift.
As if
it's splitting right now, like the 3D people and the 5D people.
Well, you notice when I do my work, when I am introducing someone to a certain technique,
right?
You notice I always pretend, just pretend. As long as you're actually doing it and you're following the instructions, there's no way it can't work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
We are very subconscious being. We're neurological humans. It's hard to explain our little computer that we are. Us beautiful.
You know, we're electrical.
Humans.
We're electrical.
Exactly.
What would you call them? Resistors.
Yeah.
Or we're like these little electrical beings.
Yes.
I want to try to relate it to electrical because it makes sense, but I'm not sure what that is. Again, we're points of light, and we are sparks of a bigger point of light.
Oh.
And then those are sparks of a bigger point of light, or a bigger center of light. What?
I was reading Denise's comment here, and basically, girlfriend, he's reminding you. He's reminding you.
Right, different time frame. Yeah, that was. But no, I think there was actually a war in heaven that actually happened a few years ago, like not too long ago.
Yep.
I was being pulled into that kind of to be prepared. And this is the whole thing. See, if I tell this to people just walking down the street, or if and some people get really into it because they get lost like completely there. That's like they're on this permanent acid trip where, we're not supposed to live there, just moments. We're humans right now. We're not supposed to, we can't handle that kind of energy because we are not the singularity that we all come from.
Right.
We're a fraction of it.
That's right.
We can't handle all of that power. Some people can handle more than others. But as we get in this awakening, and I'm seeing people that are awakened, but they're like stuck in the newly awakened. Like they're stuck in that place of like naivety. They haven't let go of the archetypes.
Yeah.
And you don't want to let them go completely. You want to connect to them, but they haven't learned how to anchor themselves here on Earth in this dimension.
And trust me, I still feel like I still work on that whole balance. I'm very kind of lower world, right? Like I understand my human, or that I'm human, but I still suffer from a disassociation with my human, right? Like I'm right in it. I'm doing my job. I'm doing the things I gotta do. I feel like I'm putting work in, but I like kind of dismiss myself at the same time. And so when it comes time for relaxation or time for like trying to figure me out, I almost get like, wait, what? What am I doing right now? Right? So understand our past lives are kind of like that. It's all there. It's all within us. We can access it and utilize it for our today now. But I want to explain it this way. If I'm trying to be me today, but I was totally living, I don't know, fuck, I'm bad with names. I'm Queen of Sheba, I don't know, right? And now I've embodied that shit. And I didn't fully wake up. I'm allowing myself to just stay in my little trance because I feel it. I love it. I know it. It's working, dude. So I'm stuck.
You're like stuck in that trance state, yes.
And I'm just fucking living my life like I am fucking Queen.
You guys see the cover? I mean, the glimmers. You're lost in like the nothingness.
But for me, for Norma Louise Rasmussen, it's not working for her. She's looking like she's some fucking like conceited, crazy ass fucking like put her in a loony bin. Like, where's her tinfoil hat? Yeah, I know. Sorry.
Sailor, wow.
That is the way I grew up. I'm a sailor mouth. Anyway.
I'm just teasing.
Point is,
I'm a sailor mouth sometimes too.
I always am.
But you got to drop the F-bomb like at the right time. Like,
well,
if you're gonna drop it sparingly.
I know,
but effectively.
But this is what I'm saying. That Queen of Sheba
person, you can do whatever you want.
Does not work for Norma Rasmussen.
Right. You can't just go around acting like that. Like if you have to go do regular business, and there's some people that are lost in that, and that's why they get called schizophrenic.
Yes.
It's not schizophrenia. I don't believe. I'm not a trained.
Not that you cannot see things that are not there. Yes, you can. That does happen sometimes. However,
what's that?
That you see things that are truly not there.
Oh, sometimes that can happen, but your brain is seeing what it wants. Your mind is seeing what it wants to see.
But your mind is bringing you
guided to some place. That's another glimmer. That's getting lost in a glimmer.
It is another glimmer. You're right.
Like if it's not important to you and it's not really giving you anything, or what's the word? If it's not useful information, it's not worth even viewing for too long.
Right.
Like I can, if I wish I could show you guys, and you can if you focus on it, you'd see them. But there's like ET looking creatures, like ET from the movie ET, that didn't come from nowhere. Think about how weird looking that thing was. Like it wasn't in our imagination.
Right.
It's a real or a copy of a real.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't a real actual ET I saw. It's like robotic as shit. But
right.
Anyway, leaving yourself open to those things, like, man, these things that seem like maybe myth or, some of those things
they made
aren't
that
myth.
Story up for this.
However, you're human.
Nope.
You got to be able to maintain and navigate here. You got to be able to talk to people. That's going to be, talk to other people and not on the, first or second or third impression think you're completely nuts.
Right.
And I don't think you're nuts. I don't. I think that you're focusing on, a lot of the times we focus on things that don't matter.
Right.
And even the good things, like we see, like I've been to places where I've seen pillars like ancient Rome, but everything was brand new. Or what would you call it? Mount Olympus.
Right.
What I would think of as Mount Olympus, where it was beautiful. I mean, I got visions of that place before I even really got into the remote viewing. I got visions and a big awakening. It was like in 2008 or 9.
Are you talking about our giggly year?
No, the year that we had when we played the Yes game.
That was the giggly year.
The giggly year.
Yes.
Okay, well, that's how you have it as the giggly year. Oh my God! Or did that just come up? Did you just channel that?
I guess. Yes. Anyway, the point is, yeah. That was, oh gosh.
The point is,
almost 10 years.
I got in that manic place then too. When you deal with the awakenings, you can't run from that. Like it's going to be there.
Right.
That's why it's important when you get because the awakenings are going to get bigger in 2023.
They are.
Things are going to get crazier. But
or seem crazy.
There is a split because some things are falling apart and some things and we're rebuilding.
Yeah.
So energetically this is happening. Spiritually this is happening because as above, so below. That's where the similarities are.
Right.
What comes down from above, we tend to, we kind of work together. It's a symbiotic thing. Different things are happening there. Yeah. Different tasks are being done. But it's all working together.
Right.
And I don't know how many I can't tell you how many dimensions there are. I mean, some people are like, yeah, well, you're on the 14th dimension. Like, shit, I haven't even visited there yet.
All the
I still don't understand the first
anything
3
that can,
up.
Anything that can be, would be, could be, should be, is thought and imagination somewhere it happened. Somewhere, that's someone's reality.
Yep.
Okay. And that's okay. It can still be our pretend.
Yeah, they kind of make fun of it, or they kind of talk about that. Christy said that the ET movie was not just something that someone came up with.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
I mean they did, but they were inspired by the actual
some events
entity, the actual being.
Like, yeah.
I mean, there was one place that somebody told us to go, and they were like totally channeling because they were very spiritual, but they weren't like psychics and did all this stuff. There was one of them that was feeding us like energy. Yeah. That's what she was doing, like giving us energy. It was almost like when things got dim, she put the lights on again, right? As we were going through this. Like an energy feeder, like an Aquarius, that Aquarian pouring the water.
Pouring water, making sure she's feeding everything. Mm-hmm.
This is getting really weird, but this is my mind.
Yeah, his mind's weird.
Anyway, and my experience and what I've learned.
But no, and really, yeah. I got it.
But one of us we were doing the coordinates, or no, it wasn't. We were just picking places to go to. And he gave us Planet, was it Planet Z?
It was Planet Z.
Planet X. Planet Z.
This was
and I saw no shit. It looked like I saw fountains pouring wine out. And everything was like yellow, like it was gold looking. But I saw like a little farmer that looked just like the ET. And I wasn't planning on going there. But it was like it was a projection that Ryan, his name's Ryan, I'll say his first name, gave us. And he kind of led the whole.
Well, really, he gave us very basic coordinates. And here's the whole thing about having that open mind. He just gave us
Planet Z.
Right? Here's that whole thing about having an open mind and utilizing your imagination. Do not discredit your imagination. Maybe it wasn't exactly the way Aaron saw it, But it's definitely something like that and made him feel that way, right? Like that's the way he's seen it. We cannot discredit the things that we see, feel, or understand in these places. However, we do sort of want to, like the cannabis helps us do, stay slightly detached. We're observing, we're looking, we're understanding.
We don't want to get completely detached.
No. You don't want
But
to detach
sometimes
yourself.
it's like an occupational hazard. Like, and I do want to warn everybody, like doing that, you are going to you'll have some like past life healing happen. You always get something at the end. Like anytime you do this, and that was Sebi that was saying, you're always going to be left a gift for the work.
Yeah.
For the work you're doing. And we get it'd be like some strange insight or a clue to go to the next viewing or remote view. It was really cool, really powerful, and I miss it. I miss that one. That was fun. But now we're doing it in class now, so it's a lot more fun now. But I think it was fun because it was new.
Yes. And here's the thing. When you allow yourself to connect psychically to what you don't know, and no matter what you say, no matter what you're getting, just you're allowing it to just kind of flow and you're kind of reporting it all. You're just kind of like taking note of it. If others are there on this trip with you, and then you start to just compare notes.
Right.
Okay. Understand, especially in investigative type of things, you want many people giving that perspective. And then you take
the more minds you have, the better.
You take all the key points that do line up and do match up for sure. And you can say, hey, I think this is pretty much fact here because, how many people came up with this one? And it's actually here in this thing, in the pattern of a lifetime or whatever. I'm getting technical with things, but really, I feel like I got to do that because you don't want to get lost in the glimmers.
Yeah, let's keep calling that back too, because we tend to get a little ADD and out there. But
yeah,
that's really it. Like I see a lot of people get really like rigid in their religion, and they're stuck.
Right.
You have to go beyond that. Like it's important to go beyond. Like Jesus didn't rule over the whole land. There is one God, one singularity eventually, but that singularity is looking up to another singularity. So there's more than one, but it's hard to explain. How do I explain that?
Well, look.
Oh, that's dimensions.
You can't.
Each dimension is different, and each dimension ascends or descends, and they just keep going. I mean, eventually it still forms a circle, right? Because that's how it works. Everything's cyclical.
Yeah.
And I think we visit all of these different dimensions as we pass through one another. So when we get to the place or the pinnacle of our life, what we've learned, what we need to learn, we're gonna move on.
Right. We'll see. And
when we get to a level of understanding that we're ready for that next understanding or next level of understanding,
and being able to be like a humble person within it all, like really being able to take it all in, understand it, and still kind of basically just observe your life, doing the work, assisting others, being a helpful hand, but doing your own thing, right? Being an independent person.
Yep.
While being open to others. Being able to observe much and not get involved with much. I used that word twice and I didn't like it, but that's the way it came. Is kind of that's kind of the importance of it. It's truly being your human that knows and understands all these things, but understands those things only matter when it comes to making a decision or playing an active role in your life. Really, it doesn't matter if I was Queen of Sheba, if I was the fucking Princess Diana, if I was who cares? Now, if it is a taunting memory for you that you remember that lifetime, maybe yes, you need to focus on it. But if it's not, then it really doesn't matter right now. And maybe that's some of just the way my brain works.
Yeah, Norma doesn't want to visit the past.
No, I do visit the past.
But the whole thing is past lives. And see, now you're I disagree with you there. because I feel like past lives, and we've had this argument before on the show.
Yeah, and we're gonna do it again, obviously.
You want to dumb it down.
No,
and I don't think that's.
I don't want to dumb it down.
You want to dumb it down, or you want to erase it out?
No.
Yeah, you want to make it less important.
Well, no, I don't want to make it less important. However, I do want people to understand that just because you cannot remember you were this, or you're not necessarily seeing it like that, does not make it any less important. Therefore, so remembering it that way,
I get. So you
doesn't make it any more important.
Don't make yourself more important than anybody else.
Exactly.
Yeah. Or some other life more important than the one you're in.
Right.
Yeah, I get there, but I do feel like I'd use that as therapy. So.
Oh no, and I do. I get that too. I do too.
Yeah.
I know. I understand that as well.
Anyway.
Yeah. And now you see how we work together.
We're just going to see where this show goes. I have no idea. I'm not even I'm not projecting anything for it. We'll see where it goes. I mean, enjoy the ride.
Right. Do what you got to do.
I'm having fun.
Have fun. Talk about things. Y'all get to hear how we argue.
Yeah. Shadow work. Yeah. That's another one. Well, that's it. When you get to that like level of high consciousness, then you have to deal with this. You always have to deal with the shadow because that pendulum swings back.
Yeah.
So and we just talked about this last night.
Well, and that's just it. Especially when you get stuck in
the cause or the rhythm.
Yeah. If you get stuck in a glimmer somewhere, you're going to deal with different consequences than simply viewing, understanding, and embodying aspects of things, right? And that's the whole thing. It's not for everyone. It's not against any, like some people truly need to like see that past life and understand it to be able to integrate it. I get that. But I feel like as long as you can see what you think of these aspects in which you're trying to embody within yourself, we really can keep it quite simple. We are complicated beings, but we're simple beings, right? You can truly align yourself. Simplex. That's it. You can embody every aspect of yourself. And you can heal every aspect of yourself, depending on the power of your mind at the time. If I'm someone that is incapacitated, but I see myself as some big warrior that's worked out and I've moved my whole life and I can't get past the fact that my past life, I moved so much, now I'm stuck. It doesn't help me get unstuck, does it? But being able to embody those aspects into myself, understanding how movement works like this. And if I can just do this, I can work myself out of anything, right? It's the levels of things, it's the aspects of things. We're always living different perceptions, different aspects, different possibilities.
Let's see, Christy said, and hello everybody. Hello, Pauline.
Yes. Hello,
hello, Denise. Hello, Teresa. I'm gonna say hi to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And Christy said, I was adamant about my past lives for the long time, and only recently realized that I don't have to open those doors in order to move forward. Okay. No, you don't have to. You can move forward. There's many different ways of doing it.
That's right.
I'm just saying there's value in it. But what happens is, like Norma was saying, is you get stuck in that place where you're just like focused on that shit, and it's like, okay, so that happened. Yep. You got to leave that behind and move forward.
Right.
That's the whole point of looking back at your past and understanding it. It validates for you. It should validate a lot of things that how you're living now.
Right.
The patterns. That's what we're looking at. We're looking at patterns. Yep. Instead of just like the Hollywood version of like, oh, I want to see that I was, King James or something in the past.
Whoever admits they were a farmer in their past life. I mean, I was.
I see a lot of farmers. I see a lot of workers, just regular people when we do it.
But you notice how
everybody has that like signature to them that has like
and we all have
style or spark. That's the whole thing, though. That's why it's cool. You don't have to be a celebrity. It's still cool and still a good feeling.
It is.
It's just part of the process. It's not everything. Like
I'm not taking away.
For some people, it can really help.
Seeing those things.
I mean, for all of us, it can really help. But it's not the only way to do things.
Well, and that's the thing. someone that has had third eye trouble for a long time. And I'll go ahead and associate it to past lives. I don't know, because I was born with scoliosis, so I've had certain balance issues throughout my entire life, even before emotions took place. But understanding that we have the ultimate control over that, I don't see a lot of my past. I associate a lot of things to myself. I embody those attributes in which I believe that I at least were associated with, whether I lived that life or not.
Right.
And I find myself, not that I'm doing, I'm not 100% yet. I still have work to do. I think if you're living, you have work to do. Anyway, the point is that seeing doesn't have to be like absolutely like, because here's the thing. If you're not the best seer of your, if you're not the best seer, you're just a sensor. You are living a perceptual life that just senses things, and therefore your mind puts it together for you, which is a lot of us. You're gonna jump to those. Well, you jump to those like most familiar.
Norma still says she just senses shit. She's full of shit.
I do see sometimes. I do.
Dude, you've been seeing in all the classes we've been doing.
I do see sometimes. I'm getting better at it.
But yes,
but
you can just let you focus on one aspect, like sensing. I get that.
Right.
Yeah.
But what I'm trying to help people to understand, especially those that don't necessarily see all that well, maybe they hear more, maybe they sense more, maybe they, it is a process to work all of your senses into being. However, they all work all the time. And as long as you are willing to go, ooh, that felt good. Whether I live that life or not, I'm going to take this attribute and this thing that I've learned and this thing that I know. I'm going to, right? I'm going to release all the shit about that thing that I don't like.
Yep.
As long as you are physically and mentally, it really is incorporating your body into your healing, utilizing yourself as your antenna, as your releasator, as all of it, because that's what it is. We are living in this body right now. Excuse me. Seeing it doesn't make it. Seeing it may make it better for you.
No, you still have to take action and do the shadow work, do everything.
Like understanding it, feeling it, knowing it within your being, knowing it within yourself, and then embodying those things and letting go what don't work. Because you're living today. You're no longer the Queen of Sheba or the farmer that was
working the field. You keep using the Queen of Sheba,
right? Because that's the only one I can remember right now. Anyway.
You like using the Queen of Sheba?
Because
you must have been the Queen of Sheba.
I heard that a lot somewhere. I don't know. Maybe I was.
Were you walking around thinking you're the Queen of Sheba?
I heard that a lot.
It's a saying. Or
yes. See, so there you go. It's in my knowing. Anyway, the point is being able to take those attributes, those things that you sense within yourself, or maybe they're not within yourself. Maybe you think, oh, I was just the Queen of Sheba's maid, but I'd love to be her. Well, let's go ahead and take all that energy that you spent with her and incorporate those things you liked and loved and spend it today, because you're not in that time anymore. Right? It is truly about encompassing the attributes, the lessons, the knowing, the attributes, really. And then putting them into practice.
Again, don't get lost in all the glimmers.
Exactly.
Like that's other than it is you, but you are you right now.
That's right.
Focus on the present, or stay anchored in the present. You can view the past, you can view the future.
That's right.
And you can utilize it. You can still use it for, it's good to see things in the future and reference the past for, hey, I've been in this situation before. What did I do last time? Oh, that didn't work. So maybe I'll try this.
Yeah. But it's being conscious enough to know that.
And then using that to plan for the future.
The human.
Thank you for cutting me off.
Sorry.
You like to do that.
But your human will go to that ultimate unconscious response. What did I do last time? This is what I did. I went and shoved it over here. Let's shove it over here.
Let me complete a sentence.
Sorry. But that's the way the mind works. Just I'm going to put that out there. I'm sorry.
Go ahead now. I've lost my train of thought.
Basically.
I haven't, but I'm just giving you shit.
We'll see. So all I'm saying is, as on a human level, it really is about being conscious of that stuff. Because if you allow yourself to just work on what you've always done, if you're not really paying attention to what you're doing all the time, you're going to fall into default mode. Which means, what did I do last time? It doesn't matter if it worked or not. That's what you did last time. You shoved it in a box, you put it over here.
Yep.
You ignored what was happening.
There's a lot of that going on right
now. Yep.
Oh, give me more injections, please. Fuck.
Anyway.
That
was my point with just
trying to just give me any, really, we become so dependent on glimmers, on things that really make us weaker in a lot of ways. I'll leave that to your own imagination. I'm not going to mention any mentions, but no. There's a lot of different things you can say that about. Whatever it is for you, you just take it as that. Don't get lost in these things that really don't matter. Like, really, you're not making any progress by, spending any more time with them. And we all do this.
Yes.
It helps us kind of procrastinate, so we can just stay stuck. Oh, I could really be going and doing this and getting in this. That's kind of a little bit of a bitch.
Have to do this for
I'm just going to go vacuum or clean, so I don't have to focus on my calling.
That, unfortunately, is human nature. Our subconscious mind, our non-thinking selves, will bring us back to the familiar every time. And it takes a lot of work to catch ourselves falling into those patterns.
Yep. Oh, you see the ticker on the bottom of the screen? It's my link tree there, linktr.ee/333. It will take you to all the pay links. If you want to leave a donation or tip for the show or for the material, we appreciate it. But if not, share it.
Right.
Type a comment. Go leave a rating on my page or Norma's page, or we're not going to create a page for or another. Yeah, we're not going to create another page for this one
yet.
It's going to be part of the Psychic Shaman. And YouTube, that's where you can see them all. I mean, you can see them all on Facebook too, but 7 viewers. Listeners.
Hello, y'all. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding, but I'm not.
7 listeners and only 5 likes. I know that's not that much different. That's
yes,
really
unconscious
good.
mind is kind of like when you're dreaming. It is kind of. Now, here's the thing. Your unconscious mind is also the habits that you build up, right? Those things that you do before you realize you're doing them, right? Your habits, your the things you do without thinking, breathing, that's part of your unconscious mind. Understanding that our minds work in a certain way. And sometimes you're so glad that, oh my God, I got up at 5:30. I got everything I needed to do done. I didn't think much of it. I don't remember much of it, but I got it done. I do that sometimes. I know. Trust me, I talk from both experience and knowledge. But the more conscious and aware you are of your moments, the more you see how your subconscious kind of works. There's times where I'm taking my shower and I have a certain habit. Trust me, I'm sorry. I'm going to bring my personal habits into it. But in my shower, I do things a certain way. And I always notice when I start to fall off kilter, I'm going, wait, what the fuck are you doing right now? You know what I mean? And so for me, that at least allows me to know, hey, we're falling off of our habits. Should I be? What's going on right now? Right. That brings me to a place of focus, a place of pay attention now, because we're battling with ourselves. Our subconscious and conscious just went, hey, you didn't do it the right way. And the only person I'm battling right now is me in my own personal life in a fucking shower. Those little moments like that, I like to utilize, especially for how present am I? Am I paying attention? What is going on with me? And why am I fighting with myself? Am I using my habits and my routines as a crutch? Or am I doing it to make things faster and better for myself? Right? Like, am I using this technique properly?
And Christy, to your
good.
To your statement, your rant, your little tangent, you had good doctors if they were asking you that, because that's happening a lot with that. That's why they're asking you that. Yeah. So that means they give a shit. Yeah. They gave a shit. They really, because they need to know that it just helps them to work with it and to know what they've got. I mean, if you had been, they've got all kinds of weird shit. Like there's weird shit like this creating like these big clots and shit. Mm-hmm. So no, they're asking you because they're being good medical professionals.
Thank God.
Yeah, that's like a good sign.
Now, if they had asked you, do you want to get vaccinated?
Don't use the word. I just said don't use the word, and you did it anyway.
If they're asking you to do that, that's a problem. If they're asking you if you had that,
well, they were asking her. Yeah, they were thinking.
They're actually taking that into consideration, and that's good.
So it's probably just coincidental that you're having that same issue. This is the same issues that are getting from that. And they're getting, it's like a 30% increase.
Yeah, it's kind of scary.
In those causes. So that's why. And that's good. That means they're awake. They're paying attention.
If they weren't over there immediately saying, hey, you want this thing?
Yeah.
Because, whatever. But they're actually asking, hey.
Use the word. Yeah, that just makes me think of Maxine Waters. That chick's like a creep keeper. I say injected. Injected, I don't think it gets.
I don't know. I said the wrong word, but whatever. I said it real quick and. Whatever.
You said that. Yeah, all you have to do is BAX.
I know. I only said it one time. We'll see if they catch me.
The algorithm listens, man. Shit. It's crazy.
But no, if they're asking if you had, that means they're actually inquiring. If they're not like suggesting it,
so they know how to deal with it. Because if she does come in with that, they've probably seen a lot of people that have came in with that.
Unfortunately, it sucks.
So. Yeah. They're ready for it.
Yeah.
And that's awesome. That's a good sign.
Yeah. Yeah.
The good is winning. They're not going to televise it.
I have had a lot of people come to me saying, hey, my doctor said I need this to get this. I'm going, whoa, hang on. What? Go find yourself another fucking opinion.
Because unfortunately, Norma's daughter was affected by it.
Yeah. She had one. She didn't even do the double dose. One for a job. And she doesn't keep jobs. I said, what the fuck are you doing, dude?
Like, why would you?
Holy shit. And she didn't after that. And that's good. But like, she's already suffering consequences. And it sucks.
Yeah. Yeah, they're asking you that because that's a big problem right now.
It is, unfortunately. A lot of that is happening.
And I can't speak of it. I'm not going to because I can't afford to use
we're new.
What we have, but I can give you really, lines to read between.
Yeah.
Don't eat the pie.
Seriously.
What pie?
A lot of people are calling it pie.
Do you have pie? Oh.
Baby.
Well, shit. She was tempting me with the pie. They're calling it pies and cookies. What was I calling it? I was calling it
drinks. Some call it drinks.
Drinks, yeah. Mm-hmm. Just so you can get past the algorithm.
That's right.
Y'all know what. You read between the lines.
That's right.
You know. Everybody that's here knows.
They do. But yes, but really though, with that internal healing.
Yeah, a lot of how do I say that? Coagulation. Mm-hmm. It's causing a lot of coagulation.
Yes. It's making things happen that don't usually.
Oh, okay. Anyway, don't get lost in the glimmers. Yes. That's not a glimmer. That's important.
It is.
That's one of those things that you do need to pay attention to.
Please.
And a lot of other things that are going on.
Right.
But getting lost in the glimmers, getting into this place where you're like, yeah, well, I'm supposed to be the starseed that comes down, and we are. Yes, we are. Yes. That's truth.
Don't let me take that away from you.
However, we still need to live in this life. And we don't want to get so lost there that we're not even living here anymore. We're living somewhere else, like all the time.
Right.
Keep 1 foot here and 1 foot there.
Yes.
Always.
Being able to keep that balance, which is really hard. But that's the same. Okay. So here's the thing. When you are walking the path, your personal path, you're not necessarily light. And
Kathy's
you're not
got all the code
dark,
words down. She's been studying.
Right? But you are walking your human self. Sometimes you need the darker lessons to help you get through this moment. Sometimes you need the higher ones. It truly is about walking in the balance. Now, when you heard the word manipulation, ultimately, immediately you go, oh, fuck you. No, bad thing, right? However, when you look at reality and life, you realize that life is manipulation. Like, if I feel this thing, I go into this thing. So if that thing made me feel this way, and that person or that thing may not even be trying to manipulate you, they just made you feel that way, right? So understanding true, like yourself, your human, how you react to things, how you deal with life is going to help you to understand the manipulators from those just giving their opinion that you don't align with.
Yep.
Right? Oh, okay. Well, I'm not on that level anymore. See you later. As opposed to go, oh, this manipulative motherfucker made me think I had to do this, that, and the other.
Yep.
Right? Understanding yourself to your highest sense without totally leaving yourself and saying, I'm this thing now, is the key. Knowing I come from the stars. I come from the earliest of settlers. Helps me get through my life.
Well, I'm feeling a purpose here because that spiritual purpose is still necessary.
Yes.
But you don't want to go so like far off to where people don't even understand what you're saying. That's mania.
Right.
When you're talking on a whole other level, and it does scare people.
It does.
I know I've scared people with mine. That's just, occupational hazard. But anyway, don't get lost in the glimmers. It's important.
Right. Don't get lost in the showmanship. Don't get lost in the fancy ways sold. Don't get lost in the just feel it and know when it happens. And know if it makes you feel a certain way. Instead of jumping too quickly. Give yourself a moment to process and go, okay, that made me feel real good. What else is it doing? Do some fucking research. Look at it. Look at this thing that made you feel really good for a minute.
And do not let fear let you don't make any decisions.
That's what I'm saying. Allow yourself with any feeling that you feel strongly about to look into why you feel that way.
There's certain people that know how to narrate this world and narrate our experience.
And we are easily manipulated.
Yes, we're very because we're especially good people because they're good people and they don't think that evil can run that deep.
That's right.
But it does.
It does. As extreme to light, as extreme to dark. Life happens in the middle with those extremes happening at all times. Both good and ugly. Dark and light. It's all the same thing. It's just swinging along a spectrum. Swinging along a spectrum. Where do you want to be?
Yeah, that's what we were talking about, Anthony. Is it might make you feel funny or silly. That's where we get addicted to, right? So, and we can all come across as real dickheads when we get to this place because we're like, oh, look at me floating on a cloud above all of you. I'm so much more virtuous. And look at all you guys could be right where I'm at because I am the fifth element. I am the answer to all. Yep. You can get to that place. And it's funny because some of the psychics that I've trained or helped train, one in particular, her name's Michaela. love you, Michaela. She passed on. She
I
passed.
know, we love her so much. She visits us
I
every
got.
once
I
in a
don't know
while.
what year did she pass? Like 2010.
Yes, I can't even remember exactly.
But yeah, she was really good. Like she got really good, and she knew she got really
and
good.
it took
And then all of a
traditional
sudden,
medicine to just take her
she
down.
was coming from that place, and I did it too. And I warned her, I'm like, be careful. Like, be careful what you're projecting out there because
they were like
you're very
souls.
sharp. And I see a lot of that. I see very sharp psychics that have no wisdom to back it up.
Here's what I want to say. I want to say something real quick. Just on my opinion of a twin soul, he and Michaela, who had no like intimate relationship at all,
were kindred spirits.
They were twin souls.
Kindred.
They were doing some things that were very, very similar to one another and helped one another to grow into different levels.
She taught me how to, we went to a psychic. She told us.
But they weren't in that way. She told us
both. I think we went to visit her. She was in Magna and we lived in Layton. So we went out to visit her. She's like, she was doing the whole homesteading thing. I mean, she didn't have a lot of chickens or anything.
Right.
She had like a big bus outside that you could sleep in. They had a trailer, similar to kind of where we're staying right now. There's no big bus here, but there's a big RV. Yeah. Anyway, she told me, and I was the psychic. I've been working for a while. She's like, she's climbed many mountains. No, I think it was a phone call. We just called her. She's climbed many mountains and she knows how to do it. You haven't. Like, you're not used to it yet. She's going to teach you. And she did. She taught me how to but I was seeing it happen in her, which was funny.
Right.
But there's like times when I'd call her and we wouldn't even have, we'd say like one phrase and then we would totally get each other. Like we had a cool conversation. Yeah, she was cool. Yeah. She was like on my first. Twin souls. She was on my first podcast. If you want to
put that kind of level, if you want to put that kind of title on something, they was twin souls. They knew how to speak to each other on a certain level that was very platonic, but very loving and very connected. That is a twin soul. It does not have to play out in any certain way.
Right. It doesn't have to be a sexual thing. It doesn't have to be a romantic thing. And it wasn't. I mean, she might have been feel like she was very close. She was married. No, we didn't. It wasn't like that. No.
It was never like that. You're feeling defensive because of the projection everyone else is putting on it.
Christy.
I'm giving my opinion on what it is.
Love you.
Yes, Christy. Good night. Rest well, my lady.
Yes.
Please, and thank you. Get your
We're about finished up here, so
vitamins, and I love you. I'm sending lots of healing.
Yes. And if everybody else could send lots and lots and lots of healing to Christy as well, we appreciate it. All right, so I think we're done. Don't get lost in the glimmers.
That's right.
Don't get lost in the things that don't matter. They may be shiny, they may be cool, but if they're not really producing anything in your life or anybody else's,
think about it.
Don't get stuck there. Don't think you're the savior. The saviors, there's many of us.
That's right.
We all have to work together and not think we're better than anyone.
That's right.
There's a lot of us out there. And I think that's important to hold that purpose, but work together, work with each other.
Yeah, that's right.
And do this, because this is going to be a very jarring, has been.
You're right.
But the awakenings are not going to stop. They're going to get more intense. Yeah. Past our lifetimes. It's going to continue.
And don't hold on to any one way of healing. Understand you can incorporate,
learn more. Yep.
Without
or dig deep and find what you already have within you.
Right. Yep. Just know that you will find it your way. It doesn't have to happen the way the world makes you think.
Good night, Teresa.
I love you all.
Yeah, we love you all.
Teresa, I'm sending you healing too, girl.
Yes, Teresa too.
All my love bubbles are splashing all over y'all, just.
Okay, she's making sound effects right now. That's her splashes.
That's right.
All right, everybody. Thank you very much for sticking around. We will talk to you on the next one, or the next time I'm live.
Right.
Or us.
It happens.
But we love you all. Thank you. If you'd like to show support, the link tree is in the show notes, and on Facebook it's in the description. So thanks, you guys. We'll talk to you soon. Much love.
It does make it more legit, doesn't it, Christy?
The sound effects.
I'm telling you, it really does. That's why I do them.
All right,
I'm feel it.
another BTS podcast
Love you.
in
Good
the
night,
archives.
y'all.
Love you guys. We'll talk to you soon.